And we are live coming to you Monday night, right before game 7 of, this American League last 2 series. The Mariners, the last series, been great series. Toronto bats came alive in this one, doing what they do, put the ball in play, sprinkling in some home runs, and that's it with decent pitching, good pitching, and just play sound defense and very doing it how you win ball games, and I'm enjoying that part. Even though I want the Mariners to win, I want to see Big Dumper in the World Series. But how you doing tonight, Dad?
I'm doing fine. I wanted Seattle and Milwaukee in the World Series, and the Dodgers got healthy at the right time of year. They got everybody healthy. Their starting pitching was outstanding, and then the other night, that was in all my years of watching sports and seeing some of the greatest individual efforts ever. That I've never seen anything like that by an athlete in any sport. 6 innings, striking out 10, giving up 2 hits, allowing no runs, and hitting 3 home runs, one of them 469 feet.
Yeah, and I made this tonight because I knew we were going to talk about it. Me and you have not talked before the stream, 5 minutes maybe before the stream. I knew we were going to talk about this, and Ohtani is the greatest of all time.
No,
and if he can stay healthy, we might see. Thanks, Brian. We might see one guy be one of the best pitchers ever and one of the best hitters ever, in the same person. And hey, Jeff, what's up, man? Nice to see y'all tonight. I don't. Go ahead.
I will say this: whoever wins the game tonight, I think has a real shot at the Dodgers. Because there's two things about the Dodgers people aren't paying attention to. The other night they had 5 runs. Ohtani had 3 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
He got 3. They don't get people in when they got people on base. They're having a hard time scoring the people on base. The reason Milwaukee couldn't score at all, so they weren't getting any runs at all. So they were only getting 1 run a game, maybe 2, and that was it. So the Dodgers were beating them. They're not scoring a lot of runs. And the other thing is, I still don't trust their bullpen. I don't care who they bring in there. I don't trust their bullpen. So I think the 2 American League teams, whichever one wins, from what I understand, and I may be wrong on this, but I think if Toronto wins, they've got the home field advantage.
They do. We talked about that on my channel last night because
if Seattle wins, I think the Dodgers have the home field.
Yeah, it's whoever has the best winning percentage in the regular season.
Right.
So thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Brian. Brian, yes, I did have a nice birthday. Just opened up packs of cards and watched football and baseball and talked to you guys last night. No better way to have a birthday. Thank you. Hi, Doctor. How you doing tonight? Hope all is well. Hope you're getting ready for your game. That's the Toronto guy there. So big night in the Toronto area. Best skyline in baseball. If the Dome is open, I doubt the Dome will be open tonight on a night game. But yeah, so what I wanted to talk a little bit more about Shohei before we go into tonight. You were here the one night he pitched, I think 5 hitless innings and missed a cycle by about a foot.
Yeah, he missed a home run for the cycle by about a foot, and he pitched 8 innings of shutout ball.
Yeah, one of the most that's just not done. And to be a major leaguer, to be the best, most guys practice all the time at one position, and he's doing it at pitcher and hitting, and I know he has his struggles with injuries at pitching, Um, and I'm not a Dodger fan, but man, I would love to see him stay healthy just to see how good.
Well, I was a Dodger fan when I was a kid when they were in
Right.
Brooklyn, and then I rooted for them when they were in L.A. until Sandy Koufax retired, and then I became a Pittsburgh fan because I liked Clemente. uh,
Well, and when I talk about, I can tell you, I can watch this series that's coming up. As much as I don't like the Dodgers as a team, I you gotta like Freddie Freeman. You gotta like Shohei.
Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts. They have guys on that team that if you're not a Dodger fan, it's like me. I just don't like the Dodgers, especially in the '80s. Uh, you know, no specific reasoning other than you're tired of seeing the same teams win all the time.
Yeah, you want to. That's why everybody was saying the Yankees and the L.A. were going back this year, and I said I hope not. I want to see something.
Right. And
we picked the Dodgers. We both picked the Dodgers out of the National League. You picked Boston. I picked Texas, and then they got key people hurt, and that was the end of that.
But I mean, I've been talking about it all along, and I mean, you have too, and I think a lot of fans. This is where fans talk. We are tired of real guys that love baseball, that watch it nightly. Us crazy people might have a game on in the background, but we pay attention, or people that watch the highlights every day, blah, blah, blah. Strike rates are up, but runs scored are up, but balls in play are down. But the Toronto, I want to see what their strikeout rate is in this one, in this round. I know the last one they had 6 the whole time. Against the Yankees.
They had 6 against the Yankees the whole series.
Right. And I mean, I'm sorry. I hope teams and players learn putting the ball in play. And it's all of them. I mean, you see Vladdy, all of them putting the ball in play. And I think that is a big deal. And getting through, and the recipe's always been whoever gets to the bullpen first has a better chance of winning. And that's what they're doing. And I mean, the Mariners have a decent pitching staff. They had to get to where they're at, but the formula still works. And I just hope it's a copycat league, but it just doesn't see this doesn't. I guess chicks love the long ball, and that's what pays the bills. The people get millions of dollars. I've seen some of the crazy stuff that's out there supposedly out there for Pete Alonso. And, I just feel like it's just a shame that I don't know if Rod Carew could play today's game. I don't know if Ozzie Smith.
Oh, I'm sure Rod Carew could play today's game. Somebody would find a place for him.
Yeah, it's just hard. Wade Balls.
George Brett hit home runs, but he was a average. He hit for average.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I'm watching old highlights today of this old, Gene Garber for the Braves. Hope Carlisle gets to see this. And, pitching, he doesn't throw hard enough to break an egg, but he gets people out. And it was just that era of baseball, but I still think today's game, the players in today's game, we're seeing some of the best players ever with Judge and some of these other guys. Don Mattingly has been coaching them to put the ball in play. Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, the good doctor just said Don Mattingly has been coaching them to put the ball in play, and he did that in Miami. And
right.
He got as much out of those kids in Miami as he could.
Right.
He did an excellent job, and he's helping with the hitting in Toronto. But everything's kind of cyclical, son. I mean, when I came up, people knew how to bunt. They sacrificed. Nobody tried to shift because there was no rule against it. But if you try to shift, the guy would just bunt the ball down the third base line or slap it that way, and so people didn't have shifts. And then the pitchers, if you threw 92 miles an hour, you were throwing the ball. And you had a few that could get up there, like Ryan Duran and that, but most of them couldn't. And now everybody's throwing 100. So I think things are going to come around. They're going to get around. It's harder to put a ball in play when it's going 100 than it is 91. I'm going to
but let's face it, though. You make contact with the ball that's going 100, he comes out a lot.
Well, then that's when you're going to get to home runs. It's going to go somewhere.
Right, and that's the thing. Is like, when you're a kid, you're taught to just swing hard in case something good happens, make contact. But I know that as much as they taught people to hit, I'm not talking about hitting ground balls, but I'm also, there's got to be a middle area where you don't strike out every time because you're trying to hit that third strike 800 feet. Toronto is still swinging the bats, but they're working counts and they're getting balls in play by making contact on that third strike. See the ball, hit the ball. They're not trying to jack it on the third strike.
In last night's game, they said that 79% of the runs that Seattle has scored in this postseason have come by the home run. So if you keep them in the ballpark, you got a shot. Now, I'm going to say one thing. They got a guy on there. They better sign him and keep him, and that's Naylor. That dude is hitting the baseball, and he's making plays at first base.
Yeah, but you just can't pimp a home run when you're down. You're losing. Don't pimp. I know.
I watched a football game, and teams getting beat by 2 touchdowns, and the guy intercepts the ball, and the whole team runs in the end zone and makes jackasses out of themselves, and they're losing by 2 touchdowns. I mean, everybody does. That's the way. It's the way the sports is nowadays. It's, hey, look at me, guys. Hey, look at me.
Yeah. And I mean, some of it I do like, but playoffs, it's time to be serious. It's time to, hey, who am I to say? I'm sitting here having fun on the money. I get ready to watch the game till I fall asleep tonight, and hopefully it's a good game. No disrespect to any. I'm rooting for both teams. I just want to see a good game, and I want to see the best team on the field to play the Dodgers to see a great World Series. That's all I want. And I mean, MLB has their wish. They got one of the major cities out there, so it'll be 1 billion people watching because the Dodgers are playing. I know they wanted the Dodgers-Yankees, but it didn't happen. And I think with either Toronto or Seattle, it's going to be, a well-watched.
In Toronto, everybody in Canada is going to be watching.
Right. And Toronto's not a small city. It's
no. And then Seattle's not a small city either.
No.
And if it's in Seattle, all the Northwest is going to be watching. So,
right.
Maybe the only problem with Seattle is it'd be 2 West Coast teams. But I don't, this is the way I feel about it. I don't care who it is. I'm going to be watching, and if it bothers somebody else because of the ratings, then that's their problem, not mine. I'm going to watch it. And speaking of ratings, the postseason this year, the entire postseason so far, has been watched by more people since 2010, and the ratings are up 30% over last year.
And I love that. I think it's better. They got it. I think they got it on better channels this year. I think last year, some of the first round was like on True TV or something stupid.
Well, that was this year too. But I mean, I watched games on True TV.
Yeah, but I think after the first series, the way the games came on, most of the games were on where most of the country could watch. There was a few 10 o'clock games, but most of them are on when the whole country can watch. And that's a big deal because, baseball lovers are going to watch it. The one caveat when they're not is when it comes on at 10 o'clock their time or 9 o'clock.
When the Nationals or the Orioles are on the West Coast, I only watch the first few innings, and then I'm an old man. I go to bed.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you might get to see some replay tomorrow or the quick game. I watch highlights on YouTube on the MLB YouTube channel. So that's how I have to digest most of my season anyway.
This is one of the things I always talk about this because age has some benefits. I always talk about my grandmother who helped raise me. She lived with us and helped raise my sister and I. She remembered the Wright brothers and saw them walk on the moon in her lifetime.
Right.
Now, this is nothing that earth shattering for me, but I saw Willie Mays play on television, and I saw Mickey Mantle play an exhibition game in Parker Field in Richmond against the Richmond Virginians, which was their farm team. And I've seen Shohei Ohtani in my lifetime. It's a pretty big deal for me.
And the games
in between.
Right. And the games have changed, and everybody wants to put, not everybody, there's a large contingent that still thinks the golden age of baseball is everything. And it's just the games are different. Like I said, I've read books on and look at the actual history of the game and how it's leaped from 1900 to 1950s. It's just like from 1950s to now. They're not lobbing the ball in. They're not, throwing underhanded. It's not, it's a different game. The equipment has excelled through those years. Even in 1900s, they knew health and benefits of weightlifting and things like that. But, they didn't have places to go like they do now, or people, that's what their job is, to make sure that their players are fit.
And in their off season, they worked. They worked a job.
The superstars in the 50s and 60s barnstormed a lot of times, and a lot of people went and played down south in the winter leagues. And they also went home if their parents owned shops and stuff. They worked in shops.
Some of them played in the Mexican League.
Yeah. So, that I just want people to realize that. That's why, we're getting to see some of the greatest players. We saw Pujols. We saw Cabrera. I can go on and on. Pitchers like Maddox. And, we seeing the performance. The performance that Scherzer put on at his age the other night.
Oh yeah,
that was phenomenal. I'm upset at myself, so I went to bed after the first inning. So I was like, "Ooh, he's not looking. This is gonna be a long night." And I went to bed, and then I woke up the next morning looking at it, and I was like, "Damn, old man can still go." That man, he just wants to, play ball. And I feel lucky that I'm watching this period of baseball, not of any period.
Each period of baseball is different.
Right.
Each is different.
Her
personally, as an older person, I am tickled to death with the game being shorter. And I like the pitch clock. I like the bigger bases. I like that they got rid of the shift. It makes for a better game, and I enjoy it. I mean, there is more bunting. There is more hit and run. There's more stolen bases. There is more base hits. It's still not at the same level as what I grew up with, but everybody's stronger now, more powerful. The only problem I have, when your stepmom noticed it the other day in the game where the guy had 2 strikes on him and didn't short up or anything, and he swung from his heels and struck out. She said, "Well, that's what you're talking about, isn't it?" And I said, "Yeah, I mean, he's not doing his team any good." And I was watching a game the other day. Guy got a guy on first and second, and no outs. The guy comes up to bat, and I said, bunt him over. And I swung away. The announcer said, "Well, he's not going to give up an out. That's why he's not going to bunt. They don't want to give up an out." So he hit into a double play. So he gave up 2 outs. So I guess I proved my point. You didn't prove yours. I mean, I don't know.
Well, the analytics, this is when the analytics drives me crazy.
Well, analytics will get your ass fired. I mean, that's
right. But the whole thing with putting the ball in play opposed to striking out, I'm sorry, you have to striking out does nothing. It doesn't even put pressure on the defense. Putting the ball in play puts pressure on the defense. puts pressure on the pitcher. Getting guys to move around the base paths puts pressure on teams. When everybody's just standing around, does nothing, doesn't move anybody. You don't have a chance to get the guy to second, or even by striking out does nothing. We've talked about it ad nauseum on this channel, and I think everybody else does too. It's fine to have home run hitters. It's fine for everyone to hit home runs, but I think there needs to be a new emphasis on balls in play.
And there will be with Toronto's success, and to a certain extent, Milwaukee was a put the ball in play team too. With some of their success, people, because sports is like everything else; it's a copycat.
Right.
If it works for one team, the other teams are going to try it, because that's just the way it is. We do have one little sad thing to talk about this week, and that is.
But go ahead, yeah.
That is Sandy Alomar, 81 years old, passed away this week.
Yes.
Earlier in the week, and I don't know how many of our watchers, listeners here tonight saw Sandy Alomar play, but he was a really good ball player. And also, Alex Bregman has decided to opt out of his contract and go free agent. Vlad Jr. is better get a nice bonus, because a court in the Dominican Republic found him liable for $402,632 to a construction company that built a big mansion for him down there, and they claim he didn't pay him. He claimed he paid him for some of the work that they were supposed to do, and they didn't do it. Well, how many wild pitches and pass balls? I saw. Well, it's funny you should mention that, because I became a Cal Raleigh fan during the season. I got to see him play. Whenever I could see him play on MLB, I'd watch him, or I'd tape the game or something just so I could watch him. Last night, it was man on second base, and the pitcher threw a ball in the dirt. The ball got away. Riley should have ate the ball, but he threw it to third and threw it in the left field, and the runner scored. And it was 5. That made it 5. It was 5, and then they scored 2 runs, made it 5-2. And then later on, Toronto got another run. But that's the kind of thing you don't expect from him. But everybody makes mistakes.
A double play with runners in scoring position.
Well, they had 3 double plays They hit the 3 double plays last night.
I think Kyle Raleigh is my pick to click tonight. But, also another ex-Mariner passed away, ex-Yankee, Jesus Montero, from after being in a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, he was only 30-some years old.
Yeah. Also, Doug Martin, I believe, running back from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, passed away yesterday. Ace Frehley from Kiss passed away. It's been a bad week for that type of thing in pop culture. So, yeah. Also, just to let everybody know, tonight looks like George Kirby is going against Shane Bieber. So, very interesting matchup right there.
Well, Yamamoto pitched a complete game the other night. Snell should have. I don't know why he took him out in the 8th inning. He almost lost the game. But Snell should have pitched a complete game, and Snell retired the last 14 batters he faced. That complete game by Yamamoto was the first one since Justin Verlander in 2017 for the Houston Astros.
Right. Well, I mean, we've been so specialized now that people get taken out late in games because that's what you do. You go to your 8th inning.
Well, 6-7 innings, and that's it. But that's why the Dodgers are trying to let these guys go as late as possible because of their bullpen.
Right. Yeah.
And I found out also that Tarek Skubal last year in 2024 uh, was offered a 4-year deal, $100 million, $25 million a year by the Tigers. A 4-year deal. He's just in the second year of his contract, and they offered him that, and he and his agent turned it down. They're going to go free agency. So now the talk is that the Tigers will wind up, instead of winding up with nothing, they're going to wind up trading him to probably the Mets or the Yankees and get what they can. So,
Right.
Trade him to one of the money teams and see what you can get. Pete Alonso is asking for, he and his agent are asking for a 7-year, $210 million deal. Now, that's a little much for a guy his age, but that's, everybody wants that stick. The other thing, I don't know if you knew, did you know about this? The San Francisco Giants, it looks like they're going to sign the University of Tennessee baseball coach as their manager.
No.
Yeah, Tony Vitello. I don't know if any of the guys that watched him, he was on the MLB network whenever they had the draft because he knew all the college players.
Right.
And he was up there for the last 3 years. And I mean, the guy is very knowledgeable. And he took a Tennessee team that was, it dregs of the Southeastern Conference and won the national championship a couple of years ago. Martin Maldonado, the catcher, used to catch for Houston and a couple other teams. He's hanging them up. He's retiring. And and here's a big one. Eric Fetty has decided to go as a free agent. And he's going to get $48.53 to sign with the Pirates. Now, it has been rumored that the Angels were going to sign Albert Pujols to be their manager. Now that's fallen through. So now I think there was 2 teams. It was the Orioles. The Orioles and one other team are in the running for that.
I'm with you, Jeff. I don't give any pitcher a 10-year deal. They get hurt too much.
Well, I would, unless they're in their 20s, like Bryce Harper. I'm not giving anybody a 10-year deal. The Cardinals wouldn't give anybody over a 5-year deal. That's why Pujols left.
Right.
Because they wouldn't give him they told him, no, we'll give you 5 years. That's it. And because they're not going to pay everything on the, on the rear end of that contract.
I can see young fielding players that don't have arm surgeries, even though now they're having arm surgeries as well. But fielding players that play every day, you give them a 10-year deal when they're still 24, 25. It sounds like a lot up front. I've been, I watched MLB when they broke this down. But after like year 5, it turns from being a player heavy where he's in the positive, where the team starts being in the positive, because after the 5th year, the inflation and all that has changed. So the money looks better for the team at that point, and a lot of times.
Well, did you see the article where the general manager for the Philadelphia Phillies said that he didn't know whether Harper would return to his all pro form that he had, most valuable player, because he'd had a down year, and he said he doesn't think he's wondering if he can make it back. Now, he might be using that as incentive to make him try harder. I don't know. But a lot of people went crazy on this guy because he said that. And, you're not sure.
There is a lot of.
So we're talking about, I just said, a 10-year contract or whatever it was for all that money, $300 million, and they're having buyer's remorse. So
let's look at Trout. Great player. 10-year contract. He's locked in. It's so much up in the front end that they couldn't trade him when it was rumored he wanted out because it was too bad. It was too heavy. Now he's older and gets injury prone a lot. Now he can't be traded because Who wants that? A guy that can only play 80 games.
Well, and then here again, here's the thing about speaking of contracts and luxury tax and all that. I saw this. This was a big article about the Dodgers. They have within 3 years, they will recoup all the contracts for the 3 Japanese pitchers because they've signed lucrative contracts overseas for all of the apparel, all of the TV rights. They've signed everything over there, and so they've got you got 1 billion people that live over there in Asia, over 1 billion people. If half of them buy a T-shirt for $35, you're going to be rolling. So they said they're going to recoup all that money that they're paying Ohtani and Yamamoto and Sasaki within about 2 to 3 years, because that's how much money they're making off of that. And they sell out every game in LA. For the 4th year in a row, they've got over 4 million fans, and they're number 1 in attendance. And of course, Ohtani's jersey is the number 1 seller, and Judge is number 2 this year. So, right. I mean, they're making money hand over fist. So their investment looks like a good one, and it's a well-run organization. Now they make some mistakes. They've signed some people. The closer they signed that for 4 years this year that got hurt and he couldn't get anybody out. Now they say he might be back for the World Series. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, he did such a great job. But you got to give them credit. They knew what they were doing, and the teams that complained about it, they got the same opportunity to do the same thing the Dodgers did. What the Dodgers did is not illegal.
Right. Well, we can probably bank on next year being in the last, probably the next full season we have, and the year after that's going to probably be a lockout. So
yeah, because they're talking about the owners want a hard salary cap for the Skubal thing. The Skubal said we're going to trade Skubal because we can't pay him what he's asking. The Tigers can't pay him what he's asking, so they're going to trade him to get something. So who are they going to trade him to? The Yankees and the Mets. The Dodgers don't need any starting pitching. So, they've got enough contracts anyway. So it'll be the Yankees or the Mets, maybe the Cubs. The Cubs got the money. Let's see, who else might pay that kind of money? Oh, the Angels, they pay everybody. I mean,
well, you trade for him, it doesn't mean that you automatically get him, because you're going to get him for 1 year.
He signs for a year. He can sign for 2 years and then opt out.
Well, I mean, what happens is you trade him because he's got 1 year on his contract. And then after that, he's a free agent.
That's what I mean. He opts out. Yeah. He's gone.
So it's not even opting out. It's just he's a free agent. It's just you hopefully when you trade him, when you trade for him, they give you the rights to talk to him, to offer him a deal, because that's the only way it makes it worthwhile. Because if you can't sign him, then why would you trade for him? That's why I'm watching all these trade deals, and I'm like, I don't understand, because I've seen some of the stuff that the know-it-alls should offer, or the Mets offer, and I don't see that, not with a guarantee that of a future contract. And I don't know how much the Mets have to really sign another long-term contract. They already have 3 on the books right now. So it's a tough sell right now. That's part of their problem with the pitching they had last year. But it's a waiting see type of deal. These teams don't have bottomless. You look at what the Yankees spent this year. I don't know if they were in the top 5 for spending this year, which is crazy when you think about it. But especially the Mets were, the Dodgers were. I think the Cubs were up there.
Well, the Dodgers were number 1 in payroll. The Yankees were number 2, and the Mets were number 3.
See, I didn't think the Yankees were that high for some reason, but
it could have been the Mets 2 and the Yankees 3, but they were the top 3.
So, but that's I do wish they would come out with a hard cap. Um, It'd definitely be better for the fans. It'd be like football, where you feel like your team has a chance every year, and the only teams that would then you want to see what the Pirates will do, what the Marlins will do, what the A's will do, where they keep, claiming poverty. So, it's very interesting. But
Well, the difference between the big teams and the smaller market teams in Major League Baseball is the television rights for local television rights. And the
right,
Yankees and the Dodgers have two humongous television contracts.
well, the Yankees own their television.
Yeah,
so.
they own their network. But that's just free money. I mean, that's all that is.
Right.
But anyway, that's
all right, Dad. Well, we're going to end it there.
my yogiism for tonight.
Okay.
Now we work for free, but if you were paying me to be on this program, and you had a different guest every week, the check would be made out pay to bearer, Bearer. So Yogi, after he retired, he went on Jack Buck's radio program in St. Louis, because that's Yogi's hometown. So he went on his radio show, and when he was finished, one of the people came over and handed him a check, and it said pay to bearer, Bearer. And Yogi looked at Jack Buck, and he said, Jack, you and I have known each other for years, and you still can't spell my name.
So that's a good one, Dad. And we're going to leave y'all with that. Enjoy the game tonight. Hope everybody.
And I believe the World Series starts Friday.
It does, because I was questioning. Not questioning it. I don't. If I'm playing Dodgers a week off tonight, whoever wins 4 nights off. That's a long break, but we'll get all the pitchers will be rested. No,
and then they play Friday and Saturday, and then they got Sunday to travel,
right?
Which is the big NFL day, so they don't have to go against that.
Right. Well, hope everybody has a good week. Enjoy the games. We'll come back to you next Monday night during the World Series, and we'll see you then. See ya.